Here we go. This site is a curated list of links with an introductory essay. Feel free to skip the essay and explore the links. Note, we are building the decentralized future at www.2030.io. Please come sign up for our mailing list. Continue your education here. Introduction by David Siegel. In 2009, I wrote a book called Pull on how things will be different once everything is online and interconnected. That vision is finally coming to life. This short essay is my attempt to describe the fast-moving world of decentralization. Blockchains, cryptocurrencies, triple ledgers, distributed apps, and more. Here is a 1-minute summary. Blockchain technology is a shared ledger that everyone trusts to be accurate and permanent. By sharing a single ledger, we can eliminate trillions of dollars of waste effort in coordination, market functions, and clearing. Record data include ownership's rights to anything of value, permanently in a way that can't be hacked or stolen. Eliminate middlemen, companies that bring buyers and sellers together and charge high fees. Everything from banks to insurance companies to e-commerce to Uber. Eliminate data centers, which are target for hackers. Eliminate IT departments, which are expensive, sluggish, and prevent companies from being agile. Radically transform government services to be far cheaper, faster, and better. In addition, we can now add programming to blockchain-based assets, which makes them programmable and smart. We are actively creating new data ecosystems that allow many real-time innovations from remote surgery to fleet of drones to programmable music rights to tracking blood diamonds and minerals. While it is still in its infancy, blockchain technology has a tremendous promise. Our estimate is that by 2030, more than 10 trillion and possibly as much as 20 trillion worth of GDP, of the world GDP, will be on the blockchain. Unpacking this. I'm going to start using the eBay example. Decentralizing eBay. Today, eBay is a public company with 165 million active users, 135 employees, 18 billion in revenue, and net income of 530 million. Around the world, eBay owns and operates a huge building full of servers to make sure all information is backed up and available. If any one data center is attacked or destroyed, the other locations will take the load. eBay is a centralized system with its own infrastructure controlled by its executives. It's extensive and expensive and profitable. By the time you get paid, you'll lose about 10% of the price of the various intermediaries in the eBay ecosystem. It is also vulnerable. It can be hacked, not least by its own employees, and credit card numbers and accounts can be stolen. There's another way to build that system now in a decentralized system. We could design an application similar to eBay that doesn't use central servers and control. We could store data on anyone's computer who wants to store it. These aren't volunteers. We pay them a few cents for their computing power. At the scale of eBay, there would be tens of thousands of such computers, and all of them store a full copy of the system, creating a massive redundancy. Since thousands of computers have a copy, no bad actors can disrupt it. This is what the blockchain does. A blockchain records an encrypted permanent record for every transaction. Hardware plus software nodes on the network called miners verify and store that information for a small price. This creates a distributed system that expands as necessary and can't be hacked. Ethereum, which was first described in the white paper in 2013, is an operating system that adds programming to blockchains effectively turning the networks of miners into the world's largest computer. Ethereum can be programmed just like any general purpose computer, and apps built on Ethereum can grow to any size, are incredibly secure, preserve anonymity, are auditable, and provide the same service at the same scale for less than 1% of the centralized price. We can now do everything eBay does with a fraction of the people, no hardware, secure payments, and at least 90% cheaper. Decentralized marketplaces are already fully functional and growing fast. While blockchain manages transactions, think of blockchain ledgers as ledgers. We use a similar scheme to store our content, websites, images, videos, etc., and pay for computing power for tens of thousands of people who offer these services. Some of them will be huge data centers, others will be in people's basements. It doesn't matter, it won't matter. Systems will expand and contract easily. Payments may be made in microseconds, seconds, or minutes depending on the system. Your encrypted data will go into thousands of verified servers, so it can't be destroyed. An Ethereum node is a computer willing to offer an entire suite of services Ethereum provides as a service. Ethereum provides as a service. These nodes will provide storage, processing power, and transactions on the blockchain. eBay on Ethereum. If you forget marketing and customer service, a system that scales securely to the size of eBay could be created in a few months by a small team left online as open source software with no extra charges at all. It wouldn't have to be a company or have any employees. It would cost just a few pennies to list everything from a matchbook to a car. It could rely on community-based methods of policing, reputation, arbitration, and resolving problems. Think about that. This is the kind of service, if this kind of service took off, something on the order of $200 billion in annual recurring revenues from eBay, Craigslist, jobs boards, and other classified systems would be reduced to almost zero. The only real cost would be for the miners who provide the storage and processing power for pennies. Is that really possible, you ask? It's already been built. Smart contracts. Because Ethereum has its own currency, let us write smart contracts. You program business logic into smart contracts and let it execute automatically. Now the system will make sure that only allowed actions can take place, whether it's escrow, payments for a service, scheduled an appointment, heating a building, landing an airplane, checking out grocery stores, harvesting potatoes, etc. Renting or using a shared car in the future will involve no human contact, no need to check in at the hotel. You just walk straight to your room. Software makes the most of the decisions using sensors and event-driven data feeds as input. Definition for business people. A smart contract is a software that runs on every computer on the Ethereum network. It is unambiguous. It can transfer asset ownership, and the results are recorded by all nodes in the networks. It may be made up of subcontracts and have unknown dependencies. It cannot be revoked except according to predetermined conditions. The software will execute as written regardless of any legal frameworks. Because smart contracts are network code, they are not private. In most cases, this is a good thing. Groups are working on creating libraries of code, contract modules that will form an active smart infrastructure that will eventually tie into smart legalization of existing legal frameworks worldwide. Let us say you want to deploy some money and have it earn interest. You would use a smart contract to specify exactly what you want. You enter it into peer-to-peer lending ecosystem. If somebody's willing to give you the terms you're looking for, they would accept your offer and begin a smart contract, or you could look at the offer and accept one. The person on the other side could be one or even several people or an institution. There is no bank in the middle. No escrow services, no setup fees, no recurring fees. A smart contract handles 100% of the execution. Imagine setting up a decentralized poker game. You would program it to store in some popular programming language and run it on the Ethereum platform to manage the schedules, poker tables, tournaments, deal hands, etc. Each bet would be a smart contract. At the end of each hand, the money would transfer automatically from person to person, not to the house and then back out. Both the house and the mining community would get their cut, a fair smaller cut than the normal poker site would charge. Imagine a group of people who came together and made a movie or a band or a company. They would create a smart contract that says who will be paid royalties under what conditions, and when incoming money flows are automatically routed to each recipient. Think of it as programmable money. We couldn't have smart contracts before because there was no automated way to settle. Permanent, reliable, fast, automatic settlements will be a game changer. Not just how we use money, but for how we use people. Decentralized stack. Ethereum is the new operating system of the internet. Here are the parts so far. Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency whose central mechanism, the blockchain, is being used for other purposes. Blockchain, a permanent time-stamped record of encrypted transactions and data. Ethereum, an open source virtual machine that allows programmers to build dApps using blockchain, includes its own native currency. Smart contracts, business logics encoded to run on Ethereum blockchain using new contract building language that are similar to existing programming languages. dApps or dApps, distributed apps, applications that use blockchain storage and computing power through Ethereum. Generally, dApps look and feel like existing apps you know and use every day. Tokens. There are already many tokens to represent a value inside of various systems. There will be many, many more, and some of these tokens will bridge systems to make them interoperable. Miners and nodes. Machines that store blocks, maintain the chain, and provide storage and computing power. Gas. A small amount of money you pay each transaction that rewards nodes for providing the services. Decentralized storage. Let us store as much content off-chain as we like on computers around the world and pay a small fraction of what we would pay Dropbox or Amazon. Decentralized processing. A similar folder at home and other large-scale processing projects. We will use thousands of small computers to do supercomputing off-chain and pay each one a bit of gas for their services. Extras. There will be plenty of APIs, gateways, exchanges, security, authentication, and other decentralized services to facilitate communication between ecosystems, especially for highly regulated industries and products. Web 3.0 browsers. New browsers are being built to help you manage cryptocurrencies, keys, passwords, blockchains, identifying permissions, etc. In general, they will use a familiar front-end toolkits, JavaScript, Ajax, HTML, etc. Features of this new stack. Robust. Ethereum runs depending on thousands of machines with no off switch, no central control, no chance to destroy the network, unlike other networks and systems. Ethereum network can't go down any more than the internet can. Trustless. There is no third party in the middle to manage transactions, and you don't have to trust the miners who do this work for you. You pay a bit of gas to each transaction, and every miner gets a copy of your record in the blockchain. High redundancies and confirmations ensure that bad actors can't steal your money. Cheaper. It takes far fewer people to write distributed applications and smart contracts than it does to build and maintain infrastructure. There is far less to maintain, and most of the details are handled in software. Latency. It can take up to 10 minutes to confirm a transaction and have it replicated on thousands of computers managing the blockchain. This is by design. It is meant to ensure that cryptographically it can't be hacked by super fast machines. Many companies are working to add sidechains, tokens, and other software to reduce confirmation times, which is essential for their central markets. Scalability. Systems scale out efficiently since millions of people are paying a bit of gas is a strong incentive for thousands of miners to provide these services. The more transactions, the larger and more efficient the market gets. Throughput. The goal is to upgrade this trustless system to provide tens of or even hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. At the level of today's large-scale proprietary systems via like Visa and SWIFT, we are not there yet. Even though security is built into the system at the lowest level, time scalability will be a challenge to them as more people want to use dApps. Many people are currently working on this problem with different types of solutions for different needs. Pay-as-you-go economy. It helps us to understand that decentralized economy is a pay-as-you-go economy, with smart contracts transferring cryptocurrencies at each step. So if you want to store your video collection, you'll have to pay the market to store, serve, and possibly maintain it. This is a gas payment, and that is why many of the new services come with their own coin currency. So you can pay for what you use. One way to do this is to use tokens. Think of tokens as a poker chip. You exchange some cash for tokens, you use the tokens in a system, and later you cash any remaining tokens back out. Tokens are used in a single system like airline miles, phone minutes, points, or in games. There's a way of keeping score within a single system. At the moment, people are inventing digital tokens to do all kinds of jobs. For example, the Internet of Things is likely to use tokens rather than currency to build millions of sensors and devices. A smaller system like Filecoin is trying to create their own currency of storing data. We'll see whether the market wants another currency for that, or whether Filecoin will have to become more of a token. Some tokens carry intrinsic value. If you lose them, you lose money, while others are just for keeping score. You wouldn't want to learn that your poker chips have lost value in the last hour because the market for them has changed. So tokens are going to play an important role in decentralized ecosystems. In some cases, like Ethereum and Dash, the token is also the currency and can be traded openly. There is clearly a need for cryptocurrencies and tokens that are directly pegged to international currencies, dollars, euros, renminbi, and yen. Precious metals and possibly other stores of value like diamonds. At the moment, we're seeing several races to see which coins/currencies become valuable and which ones get forgotten or subsumed. With a few years, those races should settle out. Which coins and tokens will win is anybody's guess. The pay-as-you-go economy will have a huge implication for the way we do accounting. In general, smart contracts will settle immediately, getting rid of the most short-term credit, payable, and receivables. We will have to invent new ways of trusting, exchanging, returning, and providing warranties for goods and services traded with smart contracts, so that no 800 numbers to call in case something goes wrong. In the coming years, entire departments will be wiped out as transactions handle their own record keepings and records generated themselves. The more use cases. Let us say you invented something or wrote a song or a movie script. For a few pennies, you can put a special code into the blockchain that references your creation and locks it in the date forever, allowing you to show definitively that you created that date. You created on that date. That's a good idea, actually. This leads to various digital notary and validation services, most of which will be automated. Much more is coming. Each year, people remit over 500 billion in transfers from person to person using systems that charge outrageous fees from bank to bank. Blockchain and cryptocurrencies will transfer all the value from wallet to wallet at close to zero costs. The list of businesses that are about to be disrupted is very long, and its list of e-commerce companies, banks, lending institutions, insurance companies, registration tickets, online markets, and other gated communities. This technology is already reshaping government. Imagine a robust voting system for everyone on the planet, systems reducing government paperwork by 90%, automatically paying your taxes as you buy things, a smart energy grid, contracts for connecting budget to income, auctions that can't be gamed, incredibly low commission stock markets, a bond market that operates almost with no human intervention, smart machines readable laws that feed into ecosystems of smart contracts, and more. Managing records can be done with no storage infrastructure or a few clerks. Creating or selling bonds will be done without investment bankers. The cost of enforcing regulations will come down dramatically, so we'll regulate the markets themselves rather than the people who run them. These are the big burgeoning areas of crypto law and crypto legislation, both very exciting areas to watch in the next few years. Decentralized systems are already showing huge advantages in managing the Internet of Things, IoT. These millions of autonomous sensors and devices create mesh networks of measurements, decisions, and actions with no central point of control or failure. Much of this will run by itself, operating and monitoring systems that control everything from aircraft to heat and light and appliances. Building and traffic systems will automatically adjust to the weather forecasts and other data. Farms will water and harvest using data and will buy their own insurances as necessary. You'll be able to rent any number of cars sitting on the street simply by putting out requests. Factories will automatically order their own supplies in time, output, and projected demands. Oil wells will respond to market prices. Robots will talk to things that are manipulating. The blockchain and smart contracts will enable agility and progress at the pace most people can't imagine today. Soon we will harness the power of expert systems and crowd forecasting to power smart contracts. There are already several blockchain-based prediction markets where you can bet on various future outcomes. Let us plug dynamically forecasted into decision-making and execution. There's an example from the world of market monetization. Instead of forecasting inflation, unemployment, and GDP, usually doing the wrong thing, the Fed could create a smart contract for managing money supply. By creating a blockchain-driven NGDP future markets, the Fed could use current market expectations of NGDP to automatically manage interest rates, invest on reserves, reserve requirements, bond purchase programs, and more. This does away with the Fed chairman carrying briefcases, sending wacky signals to the market, and making bad calls on interest rates that send the economy lurching this way or that. Everyone can count on smart contracts to execute full transparency. People at the University of College of London are busy designing central banking coins that any government can use to build their own central-based system for monetary policy. Any company will be able to write smart contracts connected their business logic to machinery of payments and the ecosystem they serve. People are already building decentralized systems for setting up, governing, managing organizations, for non-profits up to large corporations. Smart contracts and probabilistic reasoning will do far better job than humans for tasks we haven't even invented yet. E-governance. This whole smart contract thing has gone farther than you may have imagined. People are designing and creating organizations using smart contracts to manage the structure, decision-making machinery, and profit in the decentralized autonomous DAO organization DAO. There aren't any directors or officials. The software handles these roles and allows for people to participate according to the rules. This includes equity, dividends, payments, tax issues, etc. One goal is to create mediocrities, where people are rewarded small bits of equity as they contribute, and can even lose that equity as the rules dictate. In many of these scenarios, corporations or organizations exist fundamentally as software, with people playing the software game according to the software rules. This is no different to the way Bitcoin is managed today. One group, BitNation, has already launched a blockchain-based constitution. You can create your own virtual country and sign up your citizens, a blockchain-based passport, and more. We see cryptocurrency designers and constitutions as this movement ramps up. Vitalik Buterin, the originator of Ethereum, has written an excellent overview of these new decentralized organizations I highly recommend. A DAO crowd sale is taking place February-March 2016 at Digix. You will hear the term DAO in the future. Be prepared. The energy problem. The blockchain is a brilliant solution to the problem of expensive, unsafe intermediaries and bad actors. It is not without its costs. Bitcoin system today requires around 250 megawatts to run. The power required to run about 200,000 average American homes. This energy powers mining machines around the world, mostly in China, where energy costs are artificially low. Doing calculations called proof of work, they will be thrown away after each block is confirmed on the chain. Clearly, this isn't going to scale to fulfill the vision of a decentralized computing for everybody. On the other hand, centralized electronic money, banks, Visa, SWIFT, etc., isn't exactly green either. Today's data centers in the US consume more than 17 gigawatts. Google alone uses almost 2 gigawatts worldwide. A gigawatt is the amount of energy used by a city the size of San Francisco. Computer scientists around the world are working on alternative methods to keep the blockchain running without any trusted intermediaries. This approach is called proof of stake, which we hope will provide the same security and trustless transactions without the huge energy costs. The switch to this proof of stake will change the ecosystem and economies. Several companies are already trying various approaches, but so far the jury is still out on how the problem will be solved. As this world expands, we expect practical solutions to emerge. Eventually, we hope Ethereum and other decentralized systems will be overwhelmingly less expensive and more energy efficient than central servers. Risks. There are some risks to a system that has a strong cryptographic redundancy, permanent unalterable records, and trustless ownership at its core. Yes, we probably don't know what they are. While most of today's databases add cryptocurrencies on top, the blockchain starts with every single entry encrypted into the ledger using an encryption so strong it can't be guessed. This is a very different approach. There is no vast list of credit card numbers or bank accounts. Bad actors have to try to trick people into giving them their passwords, so they can only get so many of those. The system doesn't have passwords, so it can't be given up. In contrast, today's data centers disgorge their contents like a free buffet once you crack the back door open. The risks of not decentralizing are probably far higher. It's not for everybody. Ethereum may be a general purpose world computer, but it isn't going to replace your email system or word processor anytime soon. Ethereum is generally best for applications where there is a financial interest, cash assets being managed or trusting hands. There are many actors who don't trust each other. There are dependencies created an ecosystem of conditions under which money transfers. People prefer to settle their own rules rather than conforming to the rules of an institution. Saving money and ease of use are valued over speed. These requirements will change as the blockchain world evolves, but for now most companies are doing experiments and getting familiar with the blockchain apps. Building a business case takes the kind of expertise that only a few people have today. Business people have to become more familiar with the opportunities and work closely with practitioners to find valuable opportunities. A simple sprinkling blockchain dust into existing applications is helpful exercise, but it probably doesn't solve any customer problems. The next phase. Every new leap forward starts by imitating old solutions with a new technology. Today, the reason to create existing systems using Ethereum are costs and security. But that's just the beginning. I haven't mentioned Facebook yet because I hope we never have a social network on the blockchain. We can do better than that. We'll see Web 3.0 when we start to build ecosystems of interoperability and commerce. Using blockchain and cryptocurrencies, we can now build scalable markets like sites like eBay at a fraction of the cost, but still we have to get buyers and sellers to come to it. There could be dozens of similar projects, so if you want to sell using an iPad, you may need to look at those different sites, get accounts, coordinate your listings and bids. To the end user, it won't look much different from eBay today, but it'll be safer and cheaper. Next, we'll use new tools to turn tables on the model. Rather than building a social network similar to those we know today, we could let each person build a personal data locker. The personal locker will be a fully secure way for people to store and control their own data, including their own relationships, news, photos, resumes, legal contracts, and more. Please watch this short video. I'll post the link to this video. To me, this is the promise of Web 3.0. When we break down the silos and each set up our own personal node in this network, the ecosystem that will flourish will become the basis of a new kind of borderless society. We've been trapped by apps, websites, vendors, and marketplaces for so long we don't yet have the view to the possibilities. Once a decentralized model crosses the chasm to mainstream adoptions, we'll have a chance to create a new exciting opportunities we haven't even begun to imagine. Ebook. I've written a free ebook that contains a glossary of terms and gives a concise summary you'll find in the reference section here. Summary. There are alternatives to Ethereum. Think of those as operating systems. We may end up with several flavors with different systems having different strengths and weaknesses. Tokens and sidechains will help bridge several gaps. Eventually, ecosystem will sprout, and we could easily use different systems in different ways seamlessly. We're still working the most of this out. These new operating systems will likely change our society more than the web itself. At the same time, we'll be able to provide affordable world-class computing resources to every person on the earth for pennies. We may witness a dramatic reduction in the size of white-collar workforce. The development of Ethereum The development of Ethereum has made Ray Kurzweil's singularity event much more possible, and probably safer than I would have thought a couple of years ago. It is a world I have been envisioning for 15 years. The world computer has been born, it's just waking up. Note: we are building the decentralized future, including the personal data locker, and much more at www.2030.io. Please come sign up for the mailing list and continue your education here or there. We may need someone to help with this site, adding and curating various links. Contact us at 2030.io.